we have a workshop around it. So if you need any more information about Skillwise or any workshops or any courses that you'd be interested, please do log on to skillwise.pro and give us a look and do join all the workshops that are there. Most of them are free, so yes. Right. Without wasting a lot of time, let me go ahead with this topic. So we're gonna be talking about the perfect sales copy, the fundamentals to perfect sales copy, which will be taken by Anurag Rao, and he is an incredible trainer, and he has been there in this industry for quite some time, and he has written for some real amazing magazines that includes Condé Nast and GQ and etc. Because I mean, as much as I say, words will just fall short because he's really that talented. So without any further ado, let me go and give this to Anurag. Over to you, Anurag. Anurag, you're on mute. I can't hear you. You're still on mute.
Is this good?
Yes.
Okay. Hello everyone, and a very good evening to all of you. It's amazing to see all of you here, and I hope towards the end of this course you will have some takeaways with us. Now, like Shraddha said, let me give you guys a small gist. I started my basics with something like GQ. I was writing for them. I moved on with Times of India. Much after that, I moved on to the marketing and advertising side of things. I was particularly into a niche OH based business. Then I started with my own publications and also launched other publications such as Destination Exotica, Corporate Saints, and finally start my venture. Currently, I run a clothing brand called Piston Dynamics. It caters towards the motorcycling enthusiasts in the country. Now, without getting into much, let's quickly start and get into the topic. So the first thing that we're going to discuss are customer personas and why we need them. So again, why would you really need a customer persona, and what is it? A customer persona is nothing but a framework to identify and build a list of your potential customers. The next thing that we need to understand is why would we need one? Well, simply put, a customer persona will help you define your potential customer, and you will also be able to write an effective marketing or sales copy for them. Now, how do we develop customer personas? Let's have a look into that, shall we? So here's a quick example, and we are going to assume that you are building a video marketing app. You want to target bloggers on YouTube in particular. Your app's functions are very simple. You make videos look beautiful with the help of editing. Now what we're going to do is we're going to build a customer persona. And how we're going to do this is basically by developing a fictional character. So his name is going to be Ray, and these are his details. Firstly, he's 30 years old. He is single. He works at a call center. He's got a respected job. Everybody around him respects him. Now he wants to bring his sphere of influence into the YouTube world. He wants to be a YouTube blogger. But there are a lot of things that are concerning Ray right now, such as what are his motivations and influence? What is his social outlook? What are his financial outlooks? What does he like or dislike? His dreams and aspirations, his challenges. Before we try to pitch to someone like Ray, which is exactly what we're going to do, by the way, we need to understand all of these parameters. So to understand those parameters, we come to a segmentation-based procedure. Now here we see three different sections. Let us tap into the social platforms. Why social platforms in the first place? Well, like you would know, almost everybody in today's day and time is on social media platforms. They are always sharing something or the other. People engage and want to boast about their successes in life. They want to talk about the different things that they're doing, including their hobbies and their lifestyles. At the same time, if they have a gripe to pick with a certain brand or a product, they will also be absolutely vocal on these platforms and give positive or negative comments. Also remember one thing, most often people are vocal when it comes to giving negative feedback rather than positive ones. So you can always keep that in mind. Now let us understand what are the parameters you need to identify to find someone like Ray on a particular platform. First thing is age and group. Now, the age group is nothing but, let me give you an example here. Let us take the characters of a teenager, say from the age group of 18 to 25. You will find them available on almost all social media platforms, but you will notice that these guys would be predominantly active on platforms such as Snapchat and Instagram. But if you look at the age group of 30 and 32, say 40, these guys would be present in platforms such as they'll be available everywhere, but they'll be predominantly more active on platforms like Instagram and maybe a bit of Facebook, Twitter, and even LinkedIn for that matter. Similarly, if you look at age groups of 60 and upwards, you may not find them active everywhere else, but only on Facebook. Just as a vague example to give you guys an idea on how to identify your age groups. The next important factor is job profile. Now, to understand your job profiles, you need to understand what kind of people are you tapping into. Now, for example, if you are looking at tapping into an executive level CEO kind of a person, instead of trying to find them on some platform like Instagram or Facebook, you'll be looking at them at LinkedIn. Similarly, you need to understand who you are looking for, based on which you connect with the particular platform. For instance, with respect to Ray, he could be available to us on Instagram, he could be available to us on Facebook, or anywhere else. So that's the categorization. Next thing would be the lifestyle. Now, we need to identify what parameters do these people lead. Now, does your persona lead a very thrifty lifestyle? Are they careful with their resources? Do they like to save more and spend less? Hello? Can you mute your mic, please?
Yeah, I did that. I did that. I think somebody just randomly started their mic.
Okay.
You can continue.
So we need to understand the lifestyle parameters behind that. The next thing would be to identify hobbies and interests. Now, how do we do this? We again, just like everything else, we try to define what people like to do. Do they like to go out into the wild or do they like to party? Try to identify all of these, and you will be able to identify your target on a particular social media platform. And once you've achieved that, then the next step is to understand the target audience. Now, the first thing you need to do is identify products and services like yours, which means, for example, me, if I have a clothing brand right now, I will want to identify my competition and see what these people are doing. The next step would be to identify likes and dislikes. In this case, if I go to my competition, I would like to see what other people out there are talking about that particular brand. Is there something that they like in particular? Is there something that they dislike in particular? And lastly, a lot of groups will be created on all the social media platforms where a lot of people follow and engage with such brands, businesses, and also solo entrepreneurs. What you need to do is get into these groups, start conversing with these people, and then lastly, follow all the hashtags to get the most relevant and up to date information. The third step in this process is to identify opinions and reviews. Now, what you need to do here is first talk to people. There is no substitute to get out there and try to talk to people when you want to understand something. Now, if you already have a certain business, you can talk to your existing customers about it, try to get their feedback and see what they have to say. Now, there are multiple approaches to this. If you want to talk to your own customers, remember to identify the words that they use when they talk to you and make a note of them. At the same time, try and talk to your colleagues, your friends, your partners, and everybody else that you can, because these characteristics will help you build a certain grid to identify the entire persona at a later stage. Also remember to, sorry about that, also remember to communicate and put everything in notes. Let's move on to the next one. Here's the grid. Now, so whoever it is, please mute your mic. Thank you. Okay. The first thing I would like you to do is screenshot of this. This is what the customer grid is going to be. These are the details that you're going to have to be filling in. Also remember to take a printout of this or write it down somewhere and pin it. Because every time you write a copy, it has to be focused around these parameters. Because this is what is going to help you identify whom you're writing for and how to write for them. Now let's look at Ray's persona grid. Let us assume that we found Ray on a particular platform. We've got a basic idea. Now he's male, he's single. We've got his demographics covered. He is 30. Let's say his education qualifications are he's a graduate, and his monthly earnings will be around 65 to 70K. Then comes his background. Now you see that the space has been left blank. That's because not always might you be able to find relevant data. And when you do that, the idea here is that you identify what people similar to your persona are doing, what space they are into, and replace it with what's more relevant. Let's move on to career goals. What Ray wants to do is he wants more recognition. He wants to be on YouTube. He wants to be a blogger. So that's what he is yearning for. His personal interests could be anything. But in this case, since we built a persona, let's say he likes to party, he does motorcycle road trips, and he also plays some music. His attitude and values. So Ray is quite a budget conscious guy, and he weighs everything based on his budget. His next challenge, like we said, we discussed earlier, Ray is finding difficulty in producing good quality videos, and that's his challenge here. Potential bottlenecks. So when we talk about potential bottlenecks, we need to identify how is your product going to be a certain bottleneck for him, or how can you what is it that might demotivate him from purchasing or using your product or service. In this case, let us assume that our product has a monthly subscription, and that might be a potential demotivator for him. Okay, before we jump ahead, Shraddha, any questions?
No questions from the audience. If anybody has a question, please put it up. But Anurag, I would like to ask you something. So once I have this audience, okay, now this is just one person that you've given me. But is my sales copy just going to be about one person because, or just one particular background? Like right now, we're just talking about everybody who's coming to race category. That's a 30 male or an, a graduate and this. So how many people can you write per copy? I mean, how many audiences are you supposed to be touching through one copy?
Okay, so with each copy, we are trying to make it as personalized as possible. So when we write, we are targeting only one set of people here. So if you want to have multiple ideas or multiple people or multiple different categories of people, you will need to have multiple copies, obviously, which is trimmed and customized to them, which is the thumb rule, which is exactly what we need to do.
Right. That really answers me.
Okay, anything else, anybody, or can we proceed?
I think we can proceed, but guys, at any point, if you have any question, please do put it up. We'll make sure we answer as much as possible and all of them, if possible. Right?
Absolutely.
I think we can move on.
Okay, so the next step is to get Ray hooked to our content. So how do we achieve that? So here's Ray, and here's what he looks like. Well, he has certain motivations and influences in life. He likes and dislikes certain things. He's obviously got some challenges which we covered. And then there are certain dreams and aspirations. Now, for example, let us say that Ray wants to be famous, right? And he also likes coffee. He may have a limited budget, but he also wants to make great videos, which is exactly what we are offering to him. How do we put it across to Ray? And here's one example. If Ray wants to get more recognition, the idea here is to create a heading of this kind. Create stunning videos that make you viral. But if Ray were budget conscious, and if budget is what he's picking, then how would you frame your copy around it? Or your heading in this case? So in that case, let's talk about a coffee because he likes coffee. Coffee is something that a lot of people like. They also associate it with being cheap and economical. So let's say create stunning videos at the price of a coffee. Now, being a subscription model, our cost could be as cheap as a coffee, and that is in effect communicating to the viewer or the reader in this case that our app can be cost effective and still make great videos. So let's move on to the next thing. This is called WIFM. WIFM is nothing but an acronym for what's in it for me. Now, what WIFM does is basically help you understand and get deeper insights into the customer or the reader in this case. Now, let's look at that. Here's a quick example. What is WIFM? WIFM, like I just mentioned, is nothing but an acronym for what's in it for me. Why WIFM is important is because it will give you deeper insights and help you build a better relationship with the reader and will also help you to make better copies. And how do we use WIFM? The whole point of using WIFM is by asking yourself, what's in it for me? Put yourself in your customer's shoes. What would they want from a certain product? What would they want from a certain service? Identify that and then talk about those points. Because at the end of the day, the copy focus should always be on the person it is intended for and not on yourself or the brand. And this is a critical issue. A lot of people, a lot of brands make this exact issue in a case like this. Let's take this scenario. There's a person, he goes to a car shop, he wants to purchase a new car. Now, the salesman, instead of telling him about his relevant features and benefits, he's going on talking about the company's achievements, the turnovers they've made, the awards they have won. But is that relevant enough to you? Is that what you really want to know? Or what do you want to know are the features that the car can provide, its benefits, and ultimately help you understand how or what are the parameters that you're going to decide on the vehicle. You need a motivator, right? But this is not a motivator. So when you're writing a copy, most people often overlook, as I said, this very crucial factor and start writing about themselves or their brand. Don't do that. What you need to do is focus on the customer and write with the customer in mind. Let's look at this process as it will teach you how to write with the customer in mind. So here's another example. This is Toyota. Everybody knows this brand. Let's say they have global sales. They have won many awards, and the latest list is India's top ranking off-road vehicle. Now let's list out a section, and I would like you guys to read it with me. With sales over 135 plus countries across the globe, we at Toyota are leading global automotive company with many accolades from the likes of PACE, World Car of the Year, Indian Car of the Year, and many more. With pride, we can say that we are always ahead of the curve through our state-of-the-art facilities, the largest after-sales network, quality, craftsmanship, and unrivaled expertise. Our passion for design speaks for itself by the many design awards we have received over time. Now, how do you think this works? Does it sound relevant to you? Do you think of it as if it were personal? Now the whole question is, what is in it for me? That's exactly what you need to be asking at this point, even if it is for an about us section. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the customer. Now let's look at the same copy, which is a little toned. And let's read it again. When you join the Toyota family, rest assured that you are in more than capable hands. Families from over 135 plus countries trust our products, and the awards that we have won resonate with that. Our largest after sales network, quality, and craftsmanship just mean one thing for you: absolute peace of mind. We've got your back. With modern futuristic designs created for everyone, you wouldn't have to look around too far to find a car or the design that is in sync with you and your lifestyle. Now, what has happened here is the focus has shifted from, let us say, from me to you. That is from the company to the customer in this case. And remember that making it a you story is very, very crucial to be able to relate to the customer on the other end and also be able to identify and feel what these guys are going to go through. Now, the key is always going to be the same: focus on the customer while still being able to deliver the same message. Now, quickly, these are some of the things that you need to remember. Connect with the customer and always use the same principles. The person you are talking to comes first, and everything has to be directed at them. Use what's in it for me for anything you write to connect with the reader. Okay, any more questions, Shraddha, before we proceed ahead?
No. Okay, we also put on something. Um, so what I see is basically writing from a pain point is always something that works a lot better than writing from anything else. Like suppose if you actually found Ray and you figured out
Right,
his pain point, and then if you write a copy thinking from his angle is what
right.
would work 100 times more.
Absolutely, absolutely. It is about all about getting into the mind of the customer before we write a copy.
Right, and this basically can be done if you like actually kind of do a lot of research behind this particular target audience of yours, and that's how this
Precisely.
is.
Correct. That's correct. Any
Right.
other questions? Yes, yes, absolutely. You're right.
No, so there's no other question. Probably once when something pops up, I'll definitely let you know.
Okay. All right. So let's proceed ahead, guys. Features to benefits. Now, this whole topic here is about converting features into benefits. Now, here's a very simple example. If you were to purchase a certain air conditioner, why would you really do that? Do you want the air conditioner itself, or do you want it for the services that it provides and how it makes your life easier? Always remember that the customer doesn't care about a product or service. What the customer cares more for is how the product is going to benefit them in terms of their life being better or making something easier for them. So the end goal here is that the customer only cares about a result and not about a particular product or a service. The next step is to ask, so what? Now, what you need to do is once you understand your basic benefits and your basic features, we need to ask, so what? To drive to a deeper emotional benefit. Once you do that, you will be able to identify how to write a copy targeted towards someone while also being able to develop that benefit. Now, let's take a quick example here of Head and Shoulders. Now, what we need to do is understand features, understand benefits, and then finally we find hidden benefits. But to do that, we need to first understand its features, right? So let's look at that. Here in this instance, the feature is to eliminate dandruff and has a new lemon fragrance. But if you were to think of it, let's ask ourselves the question, so what? That will lead us to the benefit part of it. The benefit here is that it eliminates dandruff and it also makes you smell fresh. But if you ask yourself, so what, yet again, you will start wondering about personal instances, and that is exactly what we need. Now, if someone were to ask me, I would be like, okay, it eliminates dandruff for me, it makes me smell fresh, which means it might give me a certain level of confidence. It might make me comfortable to get out there and be ready for a date night. So that's exactly what a deeper emotional benefit is. Now, if you look at this particular ad here, it also says a hug that made her say yes to a boys' night out. What Head and Shoulders did was exactly the same thing. They tried to understand the deeper emotional benefit that the ad has to offer and identified that by going through a similar process, and then they came up with this particular tagline. The next example, before we start, any questions, Shraddha? Is there anything out there for us right now?
No, nothing right
Okay,
now.
cool. So, so the next example here is the iPod. Now, how do we identify certain features, benefits, and hidden benefits here? Uh, Guys, would like anyone like to participate in this one? We can do this as a group exercise if people are interested.
Sure. I mean, I'm sure you can put up a question. I'm sure people will start answering in the chat box. We'll do
Right.
this.
Okay. So, firstly, let us identify the features. The features are that it is an easy portable device which can carry a lot of capacity. Now, how would you identify its benefits? If you had to say something else apart from easy and portable to carry, what would be the benefits that you would have to offer?
Of an iPod,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay. Till the time somebody else comes up with a very good thing. I think when the iPod had come out, one reason I really wanted it was because it was really stylish and it just appealed. So it did it did save a lot of CD space, you know. I mean, I know it's portable, but we had those big
Right,
CDs that we would carry around, or the Walkman that we would carry around. And
right.
the best thing was it had music whenever you wanted and all kinds of music, just not like those 10 songs that we could like go around with. So
Correct.
that's one benefit that I always thought about an iPod.
Hmm.
Anybody else? Okay, personalized music of your choice. There's someone who said that. Yeah, very true. I
Exactly.
love that.
Yes.
Anybody, anything else? Come on, I'm sure you all know benefits of an iPod. Um, all right, let's. I think let's just move to the next hidden benefits,
Okay.
maybe.
Okay. So now the challenge is we have features, we have certain benefits. Now we need to identify the hidden benefits behind it. How do we do that? Here's another grid identifying your features, your benefits, and your deeper emotional benefit. Like we've discussed, our feature is it's a portable high storage music player. The benefit behind this is to listen to a bigger audio library on the move. The deeper emotional benefit could be to carry the music that you love everywhere with ease. And in doing so, that's exactly what iPod and Apple has done here. They simply mentioned 1,000 songs in your pocket. It was a time when nobody really understood GBs and capacities, and they just simply went ahead and simplified it for everyone by just saying 1,000 songs in your pocket. Guys,
Anurag,
I
there's
would like to.
someone. I'm sorry, Anurag, I'm cutting you on this. There's someone, I mean, the same person, I do not know this person's name because the name's coming as unknown. He actually
Okay.
mentioned slick and stylish. I think that's something that really worked for iPod as well because it was
Hmm.
really stylish for then and it came in colors and things like that.
Correct.
Only upwardly mobile could afford it, and that was true.
That is also
That's
true.
some
Yes.
real good points, by the way. Yeah, I mean,
Correct.
I think one thing that iPod even did on a his name is Sunita Kanga. Oh, hello, Sunita. Okay.
Okay.
So another thing, I think one deeper thing that even which I realized that iPod had done with time
Hmm.
was basically giving you a social, I mean, status symbol, and you were like a status symbol or a social symbol, like when, especially when
Correct.
you went around with people having an iPod in your hand. It just looks so great.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, that was like one emotion that they connected as well with.
That is true. That is true.
Right, you can continue.
Okay. So let us quickly have a look on how to. This is your parameters basically. Right now, we have discussed on how the fundamentals of writing a copy work, and we have got the exercises together. But lastly, remember to always write the copy around the reader. It is absolutely vital to remember that. Now, let's look at one more quick example and then we'll do a short recap. Of course, we'll go through everything once more if needed. Let's quickly have a look at this. When you're writing something, when you write a copy, remember to write like the way you speak naturally when it comes to a buddy or a colleague. The reason why you're doing this is because you want to relate with your audience while also keeping it simple. You do not want to use marketing jargon at all. That is something that people do not like. You want to just keep it simple and straightforward to them, and you want to relate to them. And that's where this comes into play. Now, are there any questions finally? I would like to know if there are any questions right now, please.
Guys, if you all have any questions about how to write a perfect sales copy, you can please put it in.
Yes.
Okay, but I have a question again.
Uh-huh.
Is now that I've got my audience right, I've understood the pain points, I understand the emotion. Now I know I'm supposed to be bringing it all together, right? The trouble
Right.
out here is sometimes what do you say that I get a writer's block. I just do not know what to write because how does a person get over that? I mean, you have everything with you, like
Correct.
every material, but then you just can't sketch it together. So when what do you do when that happens?
So the first thing you should do is put yourself in their place. What would you be doing if it was you? Now, can you give me a context here? Maybe I'll be able to help you out better.
Okay. Now suppose we understood the pain point of Ray, right? Like I know what is going to work for
Hmm.
Ray, right? We've already
Correct.
worked around the whole thing. I know what he
Hmm.
likes. I know what he doesn't like. I know he loves coffee. I know he likes traveling. I know he wants to become a vlogger. And I also have a headline that will appeal to him. But
Correct.
when it comes down to writing a body for him, like writing the whole sales pitch about how I'm supposed to be appealing him, I know I need to target him when it comes down to the budget because that's his pain point. But how
Right.
do I sketch that right?
How do you sketch that right? Okay.
Yes.
So you already have a certain customer persona. Now you want to identify how to write related to them. So the first thing you do is you need to invoke that curiosity in them, right? You can use different strategies again, which is a whole different topic. But if you want to, you can remember to use a certain amount of excitement or a certain curiosity to invoke the interest in them. But having said that, if you want to really just write something, you will have to start relating to them. How would you relate to them? That is what we need to understand here. Can I
Right.
actually look at the question
No, I
if it's
asked
there?
you. There is no
Okay.
question. I made that up. So there's no question as that's
Okay.
all.
Okay.
Okay. Another thing that I always have a trouble with is finding the
Hmm.
right words that would connect. Like you can't keep using the word really bad, really sad, really this. It'll change your life. I mean, you you
Correct.
need to find those perfect words. Now, how do you find them?
How do you find them? Okay, so the simplest way to do it is to talk the way you read. Again, that is very important. Would you be going out to someone and be saying, I will give you 5 tips that will change your world? Or would you be telling them, hey, listen, I've got an idea, maybe this could work. I have some suggestions for you. You need to talk about it in a more natural flow firstly. Then you need to identify a way to build your headlines around them. Now, for instance, when we saw a headline for Ray here, what we did was we connected with Ray, right? We want to communicate what we want to sell to Ray, but we did it through a positioning which would be motivating enough for him. Now, in this case, he wants to be famous and he has a limited budget. He also likes coffee and he wants to make great videos. Now, the interlinking here is that he wants to make great videos, he has a limited budget. So what we have done is we've used that motivator. He wants recognition, he wants to get famous. So we went ahead and put it in very simple words. We are not using anything fancy. We just simply stated it as create stunning videos that make you viral. It is as simple as that. And then when it comes to being budget conscious, since he likes coffee and we can relate that as an economical product, which means we are showing that our product is also economical. It won't cost you an arm and a leg. And you can simply go ahead and say that we are creating stunning videos at the price of a coffee. Or rather, you create stunning videos at the price of a coffee. And that is how you get them to relate with you and your articles. And throughout the entire article, not just the heading, remember to keep a focus on the customer and especially the kind of customer persona you are targeting here. That is going to be very, very important. So that is that. Any other questions?
Well, no questions, but from what I understand, what you're trying to tell us right now is basically just keep it simple.
Correct.
Simplicity is the key even here,
Simplicity is the
right?
key. That's correct.
Great. So no questions. I think we can go ahead with the whole thing.
Okay. So if that is the case, let us just walk through the whole thing once more quickly. Right. So again, we've discussed about what a customer persona is here today. We've identified the need for a customer persona. We've understood how to develop a customer persona. Now, We need a sample of a video marketing app. We've been targeting video bloggers with this. We were looking at making certain videos look exciting. We've introduced a fictitious character called Ray. He's 30 years old and single. He works at a call center. He's got a respected job. He wants to be a YouTuber or a YouTube influencer. Now our agenda here is to sell to Ray, and want to, before we do that, we need to identify Ray's characteristics. So we want to understand his motivations and influences, his challenges, his social outlook, his dreams and aspirations, and finally his likes and dislikes. And we've come up with different platforms of segmentation. The first one was on the social media platforms. We've understood why we need to engage on social media platforms. Then we've identified various age groups. For instance, people between the age groups of 30 to 35 might be on Facebook, whereas and Instagram, whereas not on Snapchat. And people between the ages of 18 to 25 might be omnipresent on all the channels, but may be predominantly active on Snapchat and Instagram, as an example. Then we talked about job profiles. We've talked about lifestyle here as well. When it comes back to job profile, quickly to recap, it is nothing but another segmentation strategy to help us identify our customer persona. So we need to look at the particular age group that we want to target for that matter. Now, in this case, we're talking about Ray. We want to target Ray or someone who's like Ray. So we want to identify their job profile. If we can't find it, we build one. So what could Ray be possibly doing? We talked about him as being a call center employee. So we can here look for people within the job profile of call center employees. And we can then start segmenting them onto various social media platforms. Then we can look at lifestyle. We can understand how their spending patterns are. What do they like to talk about? What do they like to showcase themselves about? Finally, hobbies and interests. We can talk about what they're interested in. Do they like to go out, do they party, or do they have any other passions, even playing music, whatever it may be. We identify all of these segments, and then what we need to do is see how we can fit our copy, our marketing copy around these parameters. And that is where the whole game comes into play. That is where you relate to this particular audience, to that particular segment, and that's what's going to help you. The next part is to understand the target audience. Now, like we discussed earlier, we need to identify these products, services, and then we need to identify the likes and dislikes from each particular brand or similar competitive brands. Then follow the hashtags. Again, follow all these hashtags and groups because they are an information bank. They will give you so much of information that you will be able to build your customer personas with super ease. The next would be opinions and reviews. Now, like I mentioned earlier, make a note of what your customers are saying. Make a note of what people are saying about brands like yours as well at the same time. And because this will eventually help you to establish your persona grid. We showcase the grid. Again, if you haven't, you could take a screenshot of this. I'm sure we'll be mailing it towards the end of it also. I'm
So
guessing.
anybody who's missing out the grade will definitely be mailing you because this is absolutely essential when you put on your marketing right and you really need to know your audience. So this is definitely your start when it comes down to making a grid. So we'll be mailing you this.
Do we have any questions so far, Shraddha, by any chance?
No, no questions.
Okay. So we created a demographic for Ray. You can take a screenshot of this as well if you would like to just to compare and to play around with it later. We talked about getting Ray hooked to our content. We want to tap into his motivations, his influences, his likes and dislikes, his challenges, his dreams and aspirations. Based on all of these, we've come to the conclusion that he wants to be famous, likes coffee, he has a limited budget, and he wants to make great videos. And we came ahead and we made these two really good headlines for him. Now, these are very catchy headlines, and you can exactly use the same process to build headlines, but remember to build them around the customer. We spoke about what's in it for me. We understood what WIFM is. WIFM is nothing but the acronym for what's in it for me. We understood why WIFM is so important. And then we also understood how we use WFM. So why is WFM important? If just to quickly recap, WFM is important to understand your target audience, to get into their shoes, understand their mindset, and to really figure out what is so important to them and how you could use that in your marketing copy. Again, have a look. When writing a copy, always focus on the person it is intended for, not on yourself or your brand.
Anurag, we have a question from Rohan
Sure.
where he's saying, what is bottleneck? If you could elaborate on that. So when you were on a customer
Bo-
page, there was something as a bottleneck.
right. Okay. A bottleneck is nothing but a certain limitation. So if you may say that you have a chance to approach that customer, but somewhere around the line, down the line, it might be difficult. There is something holding him back. What could that be? His challenge, his pain point. That's again bottleneck. Anything else?
No, no other questions on that. Just this. Right.
Okay. We've also elaborated on the different scenarios here. This one being that of a car salesman and of you being the customer going to purchase a car. You are going to be obviously more interested in what the features of the car and what the benefits of the car are rather than understanding or knowing more about the company's performance, turnovers and awards and stuff like that, which is exactly the same thing, like I said, happens when people write a copy about a particular brand. They are focused so much on themselves that they forget that they're actually writing it for the customer. And that is something that you will have to keep in mind. We gave another example of Toyota as a car manufacturer. Now, obviously, everybody knows Toyota, they're a great brand. But if they were to throw out a very unreasonable and an unrelatable copy about themselves like this, then they really won't be able to relate with anyone, including you and I. But if we change the focus entirely onto them, onto the customer, the same copy with the same information can look very different and can relate to them in a very different manner. So the key out there is always to change the focus onto the customer while still being able to deliver the message. And a quick recap, guys, again, connect with the customer, always use the same principles. The person you're talking to comes first and everything has to be directed at them. Use WFM for anything you write to connect with the reader. Always remember that. Always ask yourself the question, what is in it for me before you write for the reader. Again, we tapped into features and benefits. We've understood what the customer cares about. Remember, the customer only cares about how a product or a service makes their life better. Is there someone you got a question or something, Shraddha?
No, Anurag. I think we get the whole point about how this thing goes and how the perfect copy is written.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
um, what I was supposed to be telling you was, we get the gist. I totally understand how the entire sales copy passes out and how it looks. But
Okay.
do you think your copy would change the way it is written from platform to platform, from social media to probably a blog? Do you think your entire writing will change, or can you repurpose the same content?
Well, that would we will probably have to repurpose a little bit of a content here and there, of course, to suit the individual blog posts or whatever it may be as per their regulations. But apart from that, we can keep the main copy to be the same.
Right, fair
Anything
enough.
else?
No. I think Anurag, I think just pretty much that we understood, and it's just the same thing. So can we like
Okay.
go ahead and go to the question answers, and if anybody else has no questions, we can just answer that and then
Sure.
go ahead with the whole thing.
Okay.
Right.
Any
Anybody
few questions?
last time to ask more questions? If you all have some, please let us know because we'll happily answer it. And if not, then I'll tell you about those interesting workshops that are going to be coming up next week and the future months and everything. So if you all want to know more about us, you all can log on to skillwise.pro and know more about us, about our courses and about our workshops. Andra, could you like go on the next screen?
Sure.
So we have two workshops that are coming up on 12th of September. It is how to be a filmmaker. So if you ever had the passion of being a filmmaker, please join this one. Even if you just wanted to know about how can you start your journey in filmmaking, definitely do join this. On 19th, we have tips for grooming, etiquette, and communication. This is going to be an amazing workshop for another hour. It's free, and I would be looking forward to for a lot of people to be joining in because this is going to be touching a lot of points about your etiquette and the way you communicate in today's time, especially with the new normal that we have. Uh, right, without any more time, this is a certified course. So as you all know this, I mean certified workshop. So there's a link in the chat, and if you all are here and you all are present, we would happily love to give you a certificate. So please fill in the link that is there on the chat box, and we'll deliver your certificate. Right. Apart from this, we are starting a digital course, a digital marketing course that'll be happening at the end of September. The details are there on the screen. Anurag, could you please go ahead?
Sure.
If you have any questions regarding this, please let us know because all our courses are mentored and are live and are on one-on-one basis. So if you need any digital marketing assistance or content assistance or anything, do let us know and we'll be looking forward for you all to be doing this. So with this, I think we'll say goodbye for today. And again, a happy Teachers' Day. For any more queries, please reach out to us. We are there everywhere on every social media. So please follow us, like us, comment on our posts, and do everything that's possible because we really need that. So yeah, thank you so much, everybody. And thank you, Soumya, for telling me this. Thank you, Harshal. And I'm so glad that you attended this workshop. And thank you, Sunita, as well. Right. So, anything, do reach out to us, and we'll be there. Stop. You can stop presenting now if you want. Right. Thanks, Purvesh, for coming. It's really nice to see you all week after week being there and